Hi everyone, it's Lillian here from Stamper's Niche. Welcome. I was in the middle of creating some projects for gifts, and I thought, why don't I make a recording of me doing them so that you can maybe do it too if it interests you. So it's the time of year that once Christmas is over and we're looking at the new year, often we sit down and set some new or refresh or reestablish some of our organizational practices. And one of them often involves a planner or a way of planning what we want to do for a day or for a week. And so today I'm going to take something that you can find in a stationery store or a dollar store or something like that. And it's got different pages. It's got 52 pages, got the days of the week. And you can use it to plan with, but we're going to step it up a little bit and make it more giftable or just pretty to have on your own desk. So let's go down to our desktop and see what I have in store for you. See what I've been creating, and let's make sure that our camera goes down. There we go. So let's get this set up. So for those of you new to my channel, my website is right here, and the current hostess code, today's date is December 11th. I've pre-recorded this, but if you're ordering in December, this will be the host code to use. And so our finished product, so we're started with just like a tear-off pad like this, and our finished product, oops, I just threw my glue on the floor, is going to look like this. And then when we open it up, it's going to have the planner here and then a pocket here, and you can put anything you want in there. I've just put a little calendar. So this is something that you can do with any paper you have. You can switch this up. Just remember, it's like a big card front, and you can decorate it however you want. I kept it pretty flat. I didn't use dimensionals. I didn't even use, shockingly enough, any embellishments, because I knew this was going to be handled a lot, and I didn't want all of that stuff getting knocked off. So I got this great idea. I first saw it at a demonstrator event, and it was shared by Tina Marsh-Woodcock. And so I asked Tina if I could make it, and then I asked her if I could do a Facebook Live showing how to do it, and she very kindly gave permission. So thank you, Tina, and your project, I think, is quite brilliant. So here it is. Here's the back. This is just to hold the ribbon in place. So let's put this aside and bring in what we did. Now, when I planned this all out, I used scrap paper because likely each of those calendars is slightly different. So if you use scrap paper for some old copy paper, you can see even this has just got something on the back. You will, whoops, something's happening with my computer. Let's just see here if we can get it up and running. There we go. So I started with a piece of cardstock, and it's thick cardstock. So this is thick basic white, or you could use colored cardstock, but it's 11 this way, and it is 7 1/4 this way, because that's what fit my my pad. So your pad might be different. It all depends. So, and this is what I did with it. So I brought it in. So here I will also have this in the PDF. So the base is 7 1/4 by 11. So with the 11 side at the top, 11-inch side, I'm just going to bring my Simply Scored in because it's just a little bit easier to show it to you this way. So with the 11-inch side at the top, I scored it at 10 and 10 3/8. So I scored it here at 10 and 10 3/8. Why the 3/8? Because that was the width of this here. I made some other ones where this was thicker, so then I adjusted that. But what you're basically making with that 3/8 is your spine. So that's what that is for. And then this little piece here is going to overlap with our top piece. So we've got that, and then we're going to bring in the top piece, and it is going to be 7 1/4 by 10, so not the full 11 inches. And so I'm going to just fasten these together right off the bat. I'll bring those measurements back in a minute, but you're going to see that these two pieces, this one, the top one fits right up to that first scored line. So when I cut these at 7 1/4, I cut both pieces at the same time so that I knew they were going to be exactly the same. So let's first of all fold on those scored lines, and we're going to fold in on both of them. And then fold here like that. And now we've got that. So when later on, we're going to be fastening our pad right in here. So that's what that is. And then this is going to be fastened right up next to that fold. So let me bring the sheet with the marks on. So this is where the fold is. It's going to be fastened right up next to that fold, not overlapping, just right up next. So to do that, we want a really sturdy glue. So I am going to bring in my tearing tape. You could use Seal Plus as well. If you were patient, you could use the liquid glue, but mine for this type of project, preferred one is tearing tape. So I'm going to put some here like that, and this might be what you call overkill, but I'll explain in a minute why I'm doing this. So I've got this next to this edge here, and I'm going to put this on this edge here like that. So what is going to happen when they go together is this piece here is going to go up next to the fold, so I know that I'm not going to have any overhanging, right? And this piece here is going to go sort of right about here, and then so that means that this isn't going to catch on anything. I often do that just because it just makes it very secure, and it also safeguards me from getting glue where I don't want it to show. So that's my thinking there. So now we're going to line it up. I'm going to keep my fingers in here till I have everything lined up. Remember, I don't want to go over the fold, but I want to go up to it. So let's bring this in so you can see it. And we're guiding it down, making sure the top and the bottom are flush. And now what I basically have is a book. And everything matches. So this is the spine, everything's like that. So at this point, you can fasten in your planner if you want. I'm going to do some of my work beforehand just so that it is easier to handle. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I am going to put some layers on the top. So this uses, and you don't have to do all of these layers. It's totally up to you. So I've got the layers here. Now I intended to have my DSP to be 6 5/8 by 9 3/8. No, just a second. Yeah, 6 5/8 by 9 3/8. And these layers here would have coordinated with that. But I accidentally cut my DSP 6 3/8. I was looking at this. So I adjusted everything. So tonight, in this video here, I am making these measurements. I will also show you these. So it can go either way. It doesn't really matter. So let's bring the pieces in. So I have got this layer here. So for this purpose, it is 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. Then I have this layer, that's fresh freesia. This layer is bubble bath, 6 1/2 by 9 1/4. And then my designer paper, which is from Delightfully Eclectic, is here. And this is 6 3/8 by 9 1/8. Then I also have another, you're going to use close to a full sheet of designer paper by the time we're done. So let's do these layers right here, right now. So we will fasten these two together. I'm going to move that out of the way so it's nice and flat. So we're going to fasten the designer paper. Because it's so big, I'll do a little bit of swooshy gooshy. And we're going to put it here. Now I did it so that this one is a very narrow border. When I'm doing more than one layer, sometimes I like to vary the width of my borders. I think it adds interest. So that's a narrow one again. You can adjust it to whatever you like. And then we're going to put this on here like that. And make sure it's relatively straight. I think it looks pretty good. And then it's going to go just flat onto the front of our portfolio that's holding everything. So there we go. We'll bring this in. I'm going to open this up so it's going to be flat. And you might have a hard time seeing where that fold is, but I can see where it is. And whoops. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Phew, I'm glad I caught that. Just before I do that, I want to put the ribbon on. So I have ribbon here, and I'm going to bring in this strictly because that's covered in glue. What I did was I took ribbon off of a roll, I draped it over the spine and hung it down until I thought I had enough to tie a nice bow. Now, I could have used all different kinds of ribbon, but I actually was kind of running low on the ribbon I wanted to use. So I went with this, and this is the Starry Sky metallic woven ribbon. But I could have gone with all different kinds. So I'm going to basically find the halfway mark. And it's, just roughly speaking. Then I'm going to, before I do that, I want to kind of know where the middle is here. And now I could do some great mathematical thing, but I've got my pattern. And the middle, if I fold this in half, that's the middle, right? So there's my math trick for you today. And I want to make just a little mark somewhere in the middle of the middle. There we go. So I'll just do that. That's just to show me where I want to put the ribbon. So I had a scrap piece of this paper. It doesn't matter the size. I think a 1/2 inch wide is a nice one. It could be longer. It could be whatever. It's just going to house the ribbon. All right. So I did 1.5 by 3 because that happened to be the size of the scrap paper I had lying around. So I'm going to put tear and tape again, top and bottom only. So the top and the bottom. That's because the ribbon is going to go down through the middle and be able to move freely. And I'll explain why in just a minute. I'm just going to fold that so that it doesn't stick where it shouldn't. So now I am just going to eyeball it. If anybody's going to be an exact measure, too bad, so sad. So I want it right about there. There we go. So now I'm bringing in my ribbon, and it doesn't matter if I have it perfectly placed or not because I can move it after. I'm sliding it in, so see it can move. And now I'm going to tear the other layer of tear and tape off. And now I've got a little holder for the ribbon so that it doesn't slide around a whole lot. Now I'm going to go like this, drape the ribbon over, and try to make it somewhat even before I put that panel on the front. There we go. So there, now we've got it like that. And where did I put that panel? Did I stick it to something? Okie dokie. Now there's a mystery. I picked it up. I did something with it. I put it somewhere safe. And I cannot find it. Well, isn't that something? Well, where could it be? Oh, it's stuck to my instructions. There we go, mystery solved. Now this is still sticky. I likely don't need any more glue, but I'll add a little bit anyway. And I'm going to pull this way so that it's fairly straight. I could even, to hold it in place, put a bit of seal. Just to hold it in place. And it also keeps it flat so it doesn't twist on me. There we go. And I'm going to put this on. Now mine has directions, so I'm making sure the flowers go up. And there we go. So now all we need to do is decorate this, but we're going to do something to the inside first. So I'm going to bring in, oh my goodness, throwing things everywhere, a piece that is 7 by 9 3/4. Now that was going to be my layer here initially too. So if you use the first set of measurements, it's just the same measurement as that. So that is going to go here. So 7 by 9 3/4. And when you glue it down, you're going to notice if we keep our borders even here, it's actually going to cover up this join and make it look a little more finished. It'll end up just a little bit inside that fold line. So it will make it look nice and finished there. So I'm going to just stick that down. Now this could be designer paper, it could be stamped on, it could be whatever, but I'm keeping it pretty basic right now. And trying to get it lined up, and it just wants to not cooperate. There we go. Just like that. So you see already it's looking nice and tidy here. Now I also thought it would be nice to have a pocket here so that you could put, you know, the few odd things in there. So I'm going to start with a piece that is 10 by 3.5. Bring my Simply Scored in again. You can use your paper trimmer or whatever. And I am going to score on 3 sides. So 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and so both ends, and only one of the long edges is going to get scored at 1/2 inch. So 3 of the edges are going to get scored at 1/2 inch. 2 short ones, 1 long one. So 1/2 inch here, and this is 1/2 inch here, and this is 1/2 inch here. So there we go. Just like that, we've got it scored. I'm going to move this out of the way while we're working on this one. We're going to bring in our snips, and we're going to cut just inside the scoring there, and then we're going to do a wedge here, a wedge here, just inside, a wedge, a wedge. Get rid of those pieces. So now we have it looking like this with scored lines here, here, and here. So let me just bring this in here. I forgot to black out the corners, but you get the idea. It's going to be something like that, and I will have that picture in the PDF. So now we're going to fold in on those score lines, and you really want to burnish those folds, otherwise the paper tries to have a mind of its own sometimes. So we're going to score them, then we're going to put tear and tape on them, and then we'll score them again, just to really reinforce it. Some people find that if they reverse fold and then go back this way, that also works a little bit better too. So whatever works for you. So we're going to put tear and tape sort of close to the fold. So on all of these tabs that we've just made. Like that. And like that. Now I'm going to take the tear and tape off of the two sides. Bring my little dish in. And then we're going to fold that in and bring this one up. I'm just leaving the tear and tape on the bottom one for right now until I'm ready for it. So fold that in. So you can see now we've got these two like that. Now we'll take the tear and tape off, the backing, pardon me, not all of the tear and tape, and we'll bring our cover back in, and we're just going to center it towards the bottom, whatever place makes you happy, and put it down like that. And now we have made a pocket perfectly. So I thought, well, we've got a little more designer paper, why don't we decorate our pocket? So I've made the pocket 2 3/4 by 8 3/4, and it's going to just get centered and stuck down right there. So let's put some adhesive on the back of that. Oops, I have to find my adhesive that fell on the floor. There it is. I got the new one out because I knew that other one was going to run out shortly. There we go. And again, if it's directional, if your paper's directional, you make sure it's going the right way. There, just like that. Now let's put our planner in. So you can fasten your planner in with any strong glue. I have been using tear and tape, but you certainly could use this as well. So for this one, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to keep it away from the edges, but be generous in the middle, because that's a fair amount of weight it's going to be holding. Now, when I put it in, I'm going to center it between the top and the bottom, just like when you're making a card, but I want it to butt right up next to that fold. So I'm going to bring this piece up and give it a push in so it's snug next to that fold. Just like that. Make sure it's straight before the glue hardens, and we've got it like that. And what I would likely put in the pocket for gifting is a calendar. So this I did earlier in the summer, so it's 23 and 24. Where did I find the calendar? I just Googled free calendar templates and found one that worked for me. So there, I can put that in there. I've got the inside done. You can decorate it, of course, as much as you want. So let's work on the outside. So I decided that I was, sorry, getting stuff off the floor, just going to copy what Tina did. So I used decorative circle dies, and this is fresh freesia. So fresh freesia and bubble bath look really good together, and they are in this paper. So the circle that I used, and again, it's totally up to you, is this one here. So if I start at the outside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you start at the outside, it's the 6th one. So that's the one I used there. You could use any shape you wanted, but circles are just so forgiving and they're easy to use. So that's always good. And then I'm going to put this here, and I'm going to spell out the words planner. Now, I could have put the person's name I'm making this for. I could put happy, or I could just put whatever I wanted. Or I could just stamp some images and not do any words. But I'm going to use the word planner. I'm going to do it in white, and I'm going to use the Alphabet a la mode dies. But they're pretty skinny to stick on. So I brought in some adhesive sheets. Now, adhesive sheets come 6 by 12. And I just cut out a piece that was just a smidge smaller so that it wouldn't hang over the edge. Now, adhesive sheets are sticky on both sides. So what I'm going to do is just peel off one side, and I often just peel off part of it until I get things lined up. It gives me a handle to hang on to, and because these things are really sticky, if I get my fingers in it, they're stuck. But just like that, I've put adhesive sheet on the back. Now I'm going to spell out the word planner. I'm going to use my mini Simply Cut and Emboss machine. So I'm going to bring in the letters for planner. So I love these dies. They have numbers and everything else. I'm going to do P, L. They have 2 of popular letters, which is perfect. A, get rid of this here. N, E, R. Where's the R's? Here they are. So I'm going to cut those out. And you can see how quickly and easily this project comes together once you have the plan and the measurement. So my first one took a bit of time to figure out measurements, but after that I've been mass producing them actually. I'm not worried about the letters being straight or crooked as long as they're not overlapping and they're on the white. That's all that matters to me. So let's run that through. And because it's extra thick with the adhesive sheet, it does cut one time through, but often I like to go back as well, just to make sure. And everybody's machine is different, so you might find it different. You might find you don't have to do that. So I'm just going to bring in a magnet sheet that I can put these pieces on as I take them off. See, one slipped there, but we are going to be okay. So here's the P, the L. Remember, the little holes in your dies are so you can poke the letters or the die out, and you don't have to worry about it. The other thing is if you drop them on your surface, work surface, they tend to pop out too. So I've been using these a lot. Initially, they came out just when I went through, but now they're sticking in there a bit. So I likely should run a layer of wax paper. Like usually they come like that. These aren't hard to get out. If they were getting difficult, I would put a layer of wax paper in there to sort of wax the dies a little bit, and then they release better. So that's just a little tip. There we go. We've got that done. So let's bring this in. Now, planner has P-L-A-N-N-E-R. That is 7 letters. So the middle letter would be the first N. So it needs to go in the middle. This is how I center things. And we have got here grid paper. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm pretty sure that's where it is because I've made so many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As long as I have that lined there and put my N in the middle, I should be good for placement. Now I'm going to try to put my letters straight. Often I sort of angle them every which way because I have a hard time getting things straight, but this time I'm going to try for straight. So we're going to just gently rest, not press down, but just rest the N in the middle. And I'm just sort of, there we go. And I'm going to do all my letters that way. And then once I'm happy with how they all are, then I will press them down. So here's P-L-A-N. So I'm having to spell backwards here a little bit. So, and sometimes when I need to just give it a nudge, I find that my take your pick tool, I think I've got that over a bit too far. By just resting it, you see it was easy to move it. There we go. My take your pick tool is my best friend, my best crafting friend anyway. And now the L. And for spacing, I'm looking at these and trying to make them about the same. I figure that should work. And a P. So I need another N. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I forget how to spell because I'm so busy working on placement. Does that ever happen to you? And I have been known to use my N's upside down. So the one part that has the two little cross pieces, that is the top. So I've been told. At least be consistent, right? I've been known to flip them around. And the last letter. Okay. I've got a little bit more space here than here. I could move them all, or I could just take my paper trimmer and trim that off. The other thing I'm looking at is it pretty much even, and it looks pretty good. So rather than move them all, and you know what? It looks pretty good, but I'm just going to show, if you find that it is a little out of whack, remember, you can just trim a little bit off. So there are two things. You can move the letters, or you can just trim a little bit off, and you've still got the same look, and you can make it happy. Then you can be happy with it. I'm hoping to put it right about here. So put that there. That'll help me with the placement of this. Put some adhesive on this. Like I said, I'm keeping everything flat just because of how much use this is going to get. So right about there. I know it feels so strange to make something without dimensionals and jewels and all that kind of thing. But I do love how this looks. So a big thank you to Tina for sharing this project. Tina does beautiful work. And I'm so glad she shares it with us. So there we have it. We have just made our planner. We have this at the back. I said I was going to explain why. When you open up a book that has ribbon, it's going to buckle. So if it was solid in place, it would buckle here. But because we have made it so it can slide, it's all going to be good. So inside you can put the week of, you can put your plans for the week in there, and you'd be good to go. And then you can just tie it closed. And, you know, it might be pretty to have a little pen to go with this or something like that, or some Post-it notes or whatever. But there you have it. There's a quick gift that is cost-effective and will help you or the people you gift with their plans for the new year. So thanks so much for joining me. Do give it a try. It is, oh, just before I sign off, the first time I made this, I had this here. I told you I was going to share it and I forgot. Oh, I couldn't find the same size pad of paper, but I did find one that was a little bigger. So it looks like this. So I had to adjust my measurements. This is the one that's thicker, so the spine is 1/2 inch. This has to go top to bottom because it was 8.5 inches. But I had a little extra space here, so I did a loop of paper and put a pen there. But basically the design is the same, and this is a ribbon that I have run out of. I need to get some more. It's likely one of my favorite ribbons. So that is the same design, even the same paper, but just with what I could find. So the planner that I found, or the tear-off sheets that I found, were a different size. So you can see they turned out differently, but I love both of them. So you can take this design and use it for whatever. You can adjust the measurements, that kind of thing, but you've got the basics to go on here. So have fun with it. Take care and bye-bye.